Hello, everyone. I am Brady Briggs here for another episode of the Combat Logic. Joining me back, my co-host Tyler Avery. How you doing, Tyler?
Good. How are you?
Good, buddy. All right, starting off the prelims, rather. We got Jonathan Martinez coming back after his knockout defeat to Davey Grant. Now, he was supposed to fight Aaron Phillips, which was about to be a really, really good kickboxing fight. Phillips had to withdraw. He was replaced with a newcomer. What do you see Jonathan Martinez doing tomorrow?
He's a really scrappy. He's got a lot of heart.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like his cardio is pretty decent. He had a TKO loss in his last fight to David Grant, so it'll be interesting to see how he looks like coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but really, he's a kind of a fairly tall, rangy bantamweight. It should be a good fight. I don't know a lot about his opponent, but really what I'm going to be focusing on is how Jonathan Martinez looks coming back after his loss, because he just
Yeah.
lost to a good fighter. So there's
Right.
really no shame in it, but I'd like to see how he bounces back.
Yeah. I don't know too much about his opponent either. He's making his UFC debut against him, but Martinez is a really, really technical, slick type of striker. He's got some good knees up the middle. He's got really good punches and kicks. I'm very excited to see him back too.
For sure.
What about our next one? What do you think of that? Lavia Hanato Souza versus Randa Marcos.
Well, there's a few things I can tell you about this right off the bat. Is uh Ronda Marcos is kind of in a must-win situation almost. I feel like she wants to get a good string of wins in her career at this point. If
Yeah.
not, it's looking like maybe she should retire. She's had a really tough
Back
stretch
and
of
forth.
fights. She shows glimpses of her former self sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not she's not very consistent that much anymore. But I do always root for her when I see her fight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, However, I don't know how see her winning this fight unless she gets a submission.
Yeah.
But Sosa's really tough. Um, she hasn't faced the same type of competition Marcos has, but she has been very successful throughout her career so far.
Yeah, she has. Definitely more successful than Randa. I mean, Randa's a good fighter, but yeah, she's just been so inconsistent throughout her like the last fucking 6 years
Yeah,
or so.
absolutely. I agree. Ronda Marcos, she has a decent output and stuff, but I feel like Souza is just going to be the tougher, more durable. She's younger. It's just I think Ronda Marcos needs to pull an upset to win this, and I don't know if I see it
Yeah,
happen.
I agree. I agree entirely. We got Kama Worthy facing Jai Herbert in the fourth fight of the night. Now, Jai Herbert is a former kickboxer. He's got really wicked striking. And Kama Worthy's got some pretty wicked striking too, and he's got some good chokes. How do
Yeah,
you see this one going?
Kama Worthy is really unorthodox, and people get excited to see him fight sometimes. We have seen
See why?
recently that he does have, some holes in his game, but we do see that he does improve fight to fight. So we'll see how he looks in comparison to his last fight. He had some hype on him, but he got stopped in his last fight to Malarkey.
Yeah, Jamie Malarkey.
Yes. But Calm is another one. He likes to throw uh a lot of significant strikes.
Yes, he does.
He's very aggressive with his
Very
striking.
powerful too.
Yeah, he's explosive and he likes to hurt you with his shots. With every shot basically he throws with intent. He doesn't really do too much point fighting. He really wants to hurt you when he throws.
Right, yeah, and Kama Worthy, he made his UFC debut with a record of 13-6, and he knocked out Devontae Smith, which
Yeah.
they're friends, they're former teammates, but no one expected that. Devontae Smith is kind of a prodigy of sorts, man, and Kama just went right through him. But that 13-6 record was a little deceiving. He's fought a lot of really, really good fighters prior to coming to the UFC. So
And if I'm not mistaken, when Pena had a lot of hype on him, they also fought, didn't they?
Luis Pena, yeah, he submitted him in the third round.
Right. Yeah. He's definitely fought pretty decent guys so far, considering his short run in the UFC so far.
Yeah, for sure. How about Jamie Pickett and Loreno Staropoli? Now, this is really interesting because I almost thought that I'd already seen this fight. I really thought I saw this happen like a month ago, but no, it's coming up tomorrow. Um, Staropoli lost his last 3 fights, man. Like, he had a lot of hype on him, and he lost his last 3 fights. That being said, Jamie Pickett's not that technical, and Staropoli is a very technical kickboxer. I think he can. I think he probably wins the 3-round decision. But how do you think this one goes?
I'm not really sure. If I feel like if it's like a knockout with the hands or like a boxing style knockout, I'd say that it'd be Lorano Staropoli. Pickett, he might be a little bit more. I don't know. I feel like has a little more experience. He's a little bit more
He
like a
does.
composed kind of than Staropoli, but I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd bet on either guy. I'd say if I had to, I'd say Staropoli really needs to win this, and he could
He
potentially take
does.
it.
They both really need to win, honestly, because I think Jamie Pickett's winless in the UFC. I'm pretty sure he's 0-1 in the UFC. And he's 1-1 on the Contender Series. So yeah, he really needs to win too.
And another thing to mention in this is there's a very significant reach difference in this,
Jamie
almost
Pickett
10
has it, right?
inches.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, it's a 80-inch reach versus 71 and a half.
Oh wow.
Big
I didn't
difference.
know that.
Jamie
Holy
Pickett
fuck.
is pretty tall, but really they're close to the same height. They're only an inch apart, but their arms are not similar at all in length.
Damn. Because yeah, I
But
think
that'll be that helps give us a little bit more insight.
it does. Wow.
Staropoli would probably have tight inside hook boxing success in this fight versus Pickett would like to keep him on the outside, use kicks and jabs.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's
Or maybe Staropoli could go for some takedowns. I'm not sure how great his grappling is, but
Pickett's grappling isn't that great, so maybe.
I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him go for some takedowns.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I had no idea. Like, that's crazy. I think Loreno is definitely the better striker, but that should close some gaps there.
Absolutely, I think so too.
I'm like 10 times more excited to see this fight now.
Right, interesting style matchup.
Yeah, for sure. David, well, all right. I'm gonna start off with Mason Jones. Mason Jones, his last fight. He's a Cage Warriors champ. Okay. He came over, he lost a decision to Mike Davis, I think it was. It was a really close fight. Most people thought Jones won it. But then his next fight, he was beating the fuck out of Alan Patrick. And then, it got stopped because of an eye poker and a legal knee, something. I don't remember. It was overturned to no contest. And now they were going to rematch. Patrick pulls out and he's replaced with this 8-0 African beast of a man named David Onama.
Undefeated killer.
Yeah, he is. He's a straight up undefeated killer. And he also had a very long, extensive, successful amateur career. His Tapology page says he was 9-0 as an amateur. So he was at least 9-0 as an amateur, and he's 8-0 as a pro. And let's see, he's got every single win by finish.
I'm
So
gonna go
that's
ahead and
huge.
say that this is probably a fight to watch right
Yeah,
off the
dude.
bat. Mason Jones is really tough.
Yes, he
Uh,
is. He's so tough.
yeah, he's really tough, and I feel like he's a hard guy to finish. But at the same time, we got the epitome of an upcoming finisher that has all the confidence in the world.
Hmm.
Potentially could get a lot of hype after this fight. And honestly, Mason Jones isn't far from undefeated either. He's had a lot of success
No,
so
dude.
far in
He
his
could
career
be
too.
undefeated. He very
Yeah.
well could be.
So this is a fight to watch. I think this is probably going to be exciting.
Yeah, Mason Jones is now 10-1 with a no contest. He could very easily be 12-0, man. Like, very
Absolutely.
easily. He almost even should be. But yeah, they're 26 and 27 years old, man. This is going to be a good fight.
Absolutely. Two up and coming guys.
Yeah. Headlining the prelims is Jun Young Park and Gregory Rodriguez. Now, Park has surprised us a little bit in his last couple fights, showing us he's got some wrestling in his back pocket. And then Gregory Rodriguez, in the couple fights we've seen of him, he's got decent kickboxing. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's pretty good. I think this fight goes one of two ways. What do you think?
All right. So Jung Young Park is one of those guys that likes to surprise people, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I feel like, root against him because sometimes when he fights, he doesn't necessarily show anything too special, but
No, you don't.
he seems to kind of be fairly well rounded. We did see in in his last fight that he does have some wrestling. Gregory Rodriguez, a lot. I feel like he's a lot more physical. Um, probably more of a finisher. I do see it going two ways. I feel like we can't put it past Jung Young Park to get come from behind victory
Mhm.
because he's one of those guys that I feel like isn't never out of the fight until he's out of the fight.
Right.
Um,
He's on a
but I feel
3-fight
like
win
this
streak.
is Gregory Rodriguez's fight to lose.
Yeah, I agree. I think Park is probably gonna get it done. Honestly, he's won his last 3 fights. He beat Tafana and Njekwi in his last, which he's a middleweight really, but
Cardio could play a factor in this as well.
yeah, it definitely could. It definitely could. Um, Park has shown that he can go the distance and grind it out. Rodriguez, yeah,
Not so sure.
we'll definitely see.
It's an interesting clash in styles again, but I feel like do you know what the betting line is on this?
No, I do not.
I'd be interesting to
I
see
looked
what
it
it
up
is
here
considering
quick.
Jung Young's last performance, but I think
Yeah.
most of the time he's like the underdog.
Oh yeah, I think he's definitely usually the underdog. Here, I'll look that up as we talk about the next one. Ike Villanueva is opening up the main card against Nikolai Negramano. That sounds like an African name. Ike Villanueva is a heavy-handed boxer. Can't really say much else about him. And Nikolai, I don't know. The name kind of looks familiar, but I don't know if I've seen him fight
Nigo
before.
Marion,
Yeah,
Nigo Marion. Yeah, I don't know much about either of these guys. I know that Ike Villanueva likes to throw hands and he has some boxing in his repertoire. Uh I don't know much about Nikolai, so this is kind of going to be one of those fights where we might not know or have much of an opinion on it until we see a minute into the first round, and then we'll have a
right.
better idea of what we think
Yeah, I think
could
that's
happen
an
in this.
accurate statement. By the way, Park is a minus 120. Rodriguez is a minus 110, so it's pretty even.
Interesting.
Second fight on the main card, Dwight Grant versus Francisco Trinaldo. Now, I am so glad that they rebooked this fight.
Hell
Man,
yeah.
it got canceled because of COVID. Thank God we get to see it tomorrow because these are both heavy-handed boxers too. Trinaldo is more of a tie fight. He's actually 12-1 in kickboxing. I don't think many people know. But and Dwight Grant, man, he was like Luke Rockhold's teammate back when he was only 2-0, 3-0. Over at AKA getting him ready for his camp. So he's always been pretty damn good too. He's also got very long arms. Trinaldo moving up to welterweight.
Yep.
How do you see this one going?
Okay, so well, as you said, Francisco Trinaldo likes to strike, but he also I feel like he also can grapple if you
No, he
want.
does have good grappling, yes.
He's very strong.
Very
I feel
strong.
like he'll have a top pressure advantage versus Dwight Grant. Not that
For
Dwight
sure.
Grant is weak, but it's a different short, stocky versus tall, long, and strong is a little
Yeah,
bit
no,
different.
Francisco does have a different kind of strength in him, for
Yeah,
sure.
you can just tell by looking at him that he has like wrestling top pressure strength.
Yeah.
There's a big height difference in this. It's 5'9" versus 6'1". Maybe that's not too much, but at this high of a level, I think it's worth mentioning. The reach is a 6-inch reach disadvantage for Trinaldo. That'll definitely be a factor if Dwight knows how to use his reach in this. Um,
Yeah.
but also, I
So
think
he
that if
doesn't
it's a
usually.
finish, it's going to be Trinaldo because Trinaldo seems to have. I think he has more power in his hands, but I feel like Dwight Grant has more of an ability to win a decision in this.
Yeah. See, I see it.
Personally,
It's a very interesting fight.
they're both really old.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, Trinaldo has really defied age. He's 43 years old, man, and Grant's like 36 or 37.
And I wouldn't have pegged
Yeah, he's
that for
37.
Grant.
No, me either, man. Yeah, he got a late start, but like I said, he's always been good. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, man, it's crazy. He's 37 and Trinaldo's 6 years older than him. It's
Yeah.
remarkable. And they're
Yeah.
both still as good as they are.
I want to see Trinaldo win as much as he can, to be honest, because I
Yeah, me
really like to
too.
see them transcend it through their old age with getting some wins.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. Especially being in the lighter weight classes and being successful. Like
Tough.
he's probably the oldest dude in the lighter weight classes. Like Joe
Well,
Warren was pretty old. He had some success.
Jim Miller is getting there now.
Yeah, Jim Miller. Yep. All right. The next one. This is another really good one. Alex Caceres versus Seungwoo Choi. No, Caceres doesn't have a great record. He never really has. but he won his last 4 fights. And it's because the UFC isn't giving him the very best anymore, but they're giving him up and coming guys. And Choi, he's an up and coming guy, but he's had like 5 fights in the UFC, more than Caceres' last few opponents. Now, he lost his first 2 fights, and then he won his last 3, with his last one securing a knockout victory in the first round. He's a former Muay Thai fighter. He's a Muay Thai bronze medalist in some fucking kickboxing tournament I read about a while ago. This should be a really interesting kickboxing battle. I think it comes down to Caceres' footwork or Choi's power.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good assessment on it. Um, like you said, Caceres has been, it seems like he's been taking better fights for him and working his way up in a more intelligent way. But the reason why I would credit that to the UFC, because since Caceres started, he's been in the UFC for quite a while.
Yeah, he's only 33 too, by the way. He just turned 33.
Right. And I don't know how old he was when he first fought in the
22,
UFC,
23.
but it's been a long time.
Been about a
And when he
decade.
first started fighting in the UFC, they didn't have all levels of competition at that time. And now
No.
they've kind of expanded with the Contender Series fighters coming in. They have like they have levels to it now. It's not just you're not in the top 15, you're not in the UFC. They have
Right.
they have guys that they can build up and get them where they need to be. And I think Caceres is finally coming into what I would say is prime.
Yeah, that's
He
sure.
appears to be a little more physically strong than when he first started, and that was one of his big downfalls, is that he
Yeah.
wasn't very powerful. He was easy to control on the floor. Um, I don't know if that'll be a factor in this. He is stronger than he used to be. He seems like he gets a little bit stronger every fight, which is important.
hmm
And he should be in about his physical prime right now, strength wise.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think so.
Sung Woo Choi, I don't know if he goes for a takedown, but I feel like if I had to put money on it, I'd say they're gonna strike it out, but
Yeah, I think
it
it'd be a
would be
bad idea
smart for him to
for him.
grind some takedowns in to get some points, maybe if the rounds are close.
I think Caceres could submit him.
Yeah, he is. He does have shifty jujitsu and stuff. His wrestling is where he's lackluster, but
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Have we seen Choi wrestle? I don't even think we really have. It'd be
no.
great for him to mix it up. I see what you're saying there.
I don't know if he should hang out on the ground, but if the rounds are close, maybe at the end of the round, secure a takedown.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure he's probably, I mean, Caceres, yeah, I agree with you that he's in his physical prime, but I'd probably agree that Seung is a little stronger.
Yeah. I
Both of
am
them are
rooting
usually
for
pretty
Caceres in
strong.
this. I usually do.
Yeah,
He's a super nice guy.
I agree. I agree. Jessica Rose Clark is fighting Jocelyn Edwards in the feature fight of the night. What can you tell me about this one?
Well, I'm pretty sure Jessica Rose Clark is the girl that her voice doesn't match her fighting ability. She has like a little
Yeah,
nice, quiet voice, but she's super
he does.
savage in the cage. She's one of my favorites. She has good
Yeah.
boxing. Uh, I don't know much about her opponent. She's 10-3. Her last fight was a loss to Rosa.
Yeah,
She's
Carl Rosa.
bigger than Jessica Rose Clark. She's got a longer reach, but I feel like Jessica Rose Clark is more experienced and has fought really tough girls in the UFC. So I feel
Yeah.
like I don't see her walking away without the victory on this. Granted, I do not know much about Jocelyn Edwards, but I just know that Jessica Rose Clark has beat and fought some of the toughest guys or the toughest girls in her division. So if just Jocelyn Edwards was to beat her, it would be a huge statement.
Yeah, it would. I agree. I think I'm going to take Jessica Rose Clark in this one too. All right, co-main event. This is an interesting fight between Grant Dawson and Rick Glenn. Now, Glenn is a former World Series of Fighting featherweight champion. He just made his return to lightweight in his last fight. And Grant Dawson has been pretty perfect since, making his pro debut, except for his 10th fight. That's his only loss. Let's
Right.
see, what is he? 5-0 in the UFC. He just knocked out Leonardo Santos in his last fight in his lightweight debut.
Yep.
Became the first person to beat Santos in the UFC. Santos was 7-0-1 or 8-0-1 in the UFC, and he did a really good job in that fight. How do you see this one going? I think Grant probably has a Colby Covington like performance and grinds out a decision, but how do you see it going?
Well, I think Grant Dawson, um, in a way, kind of like Poirier was. He's going to like blossom at lightweight because
I'd love
he
to see that.
seems to like the things that he was good at featherweight, he could potentially, I think, be better at lightweight because he has more strength and he can have more natural
Yeah.
muscle that he would normally carry. I feel like he still is super lean all the time. He
Hmm.
just carries more muscle at lightweight, and I feel like that helps him implement his style a little
I
bit better.
agree. Because he already
I
never
feel like
got
we're gonna
tired.
see him get a little bit bigger as time goes on, just like Poirier. Poirier started at
Hmm.
featherweight the same way, and he was very thin and looked like he was cutting too much weight. And then when he went
Uh-huh.
up to lightweight, he just bursted into his prime.
Hmm.
Essentially, I
I
feel like we'll
agree.
see that happen with Grant Dawson, especially considering he trains with a really good team of guys.
Yes, he does. He
So
definitely does. I have high hopes for him.
I would take Grant Dawson in this, but you really can't count Ricky out of this. I don't think he's got a lot of experience as well. More experience than Dawson.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like he's been around a little bit longer.
Yeah, he
Um,
definitely
so
has.
he'll be a good test for Dawson, but I feel like Dawson could potentially get the stoppage in this, maybe late in the
Yeah,
third.
that would be awesome to see. All right, now let's get into this main event because there's a lot to be said. It
Oh
was a
man,
middleweight fight at first, then it was 195-pound catchweight, and then now it's a light heavyweight fight. Okay, so Paulo Costa reaches out to the UFC and says that he's not going to be able to make weight. And then he says that the UFC reached out to him and said that they offered a catch weight and then a light heavyweight fight. Man, it's so back and forth. Like I'm gonna put the whole video of their interview in the description. What do you think of this whole shit show?
man, it seems obvious to me what's going on. It's just a weight issue for Costa. Um, I hope it's just
No
because he's
accountability
such a
too.
big guy that he can't cut the weight, and it's not that he doesn't take it seriously. Uh,
Uh,
but I don't know. Dana White has made a lot of people move up after having so much weight problems.
mm-hmm.
He's almost the epitome of that so far, and they've proven that scientifically by showing. Remember the chart that they showed of how much fighters were weighing
Yeah,
and how much they weighed after?
what the Performance Institute did.
Yes, and that kind of showed that he was cutting more weight than the people that were struggling cutting weight. Like Yoel
Mhm.
Romero, he was cutting more weight than Yoel Romero.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like he's the biggest fucking middleweight on the roster. Not only does he just expect Marvin to go along with this, but he blames Marvin for fucking saying that he's the one that wanted to fight higher. And yeah, dude, he's the biggest middleweight on the roster, man. How could you have no accountability for that? Like,
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. I will say though, I think a lot of people saw Marvin Vettori as just an annoying meathead previous. This has gotten me to respect him so much more. Like,
Yeah,
dude, I love
definitely
Marvin
a
Vettori
gangster. He's
now.
the type of guy who
For
doesn't
real.
really care about weight, which means a lot at this level.
He's a former welterweight too.
Yeah.
Like, he's won titles at welterweight before.
He did blossom a lot at middleweight, and now he is one of the bigger, stronger middleweights, but still,
Agreed.
no one's bigger, no one weighs more than Paulo Costa at
Yeah, I
middleweight.
don't think any of them are bigger or stronger than Costa, honestly.
Yeah, it's going to be a dangerous first round for Vettori, but
Maybe even
he
a
could
dangerous
grind
first
out.
two.
He could grind out a decision, or he could get a stoppage. But
Definitely could.
the first round could potentially be dangerous for Marvin.
Yeah, I'd love to see him stop Costa at this point. I went into this fight hoping that Costa would win because, he's generally more fun to watch and, he knocks people the fuck out. But dude, at this point, man, I hope Marvin smashes him. I really do. Hopefully Costa comes out and has a good first round, first couple rounds, and then Marvin just starts to pour it on and beats the piss out of him. That's what
That's
I
how
hope.
I see it being. I don't think he should be trading with Paulo in the first
Right.
round. He should just be a smart, try to push him against the cage a little bit, grind on him, get some blood flow in his arms and
And
stuff,
Marvin
get him
is
tired.
durable as hell too. Like he can take a fucking shot. So
It's yeah, it's gonna be one of the biggest punchers at middleweight power wise, not technique
mhm.
wise. He definitely
Right.
hits harder than Adesanya punch for punch, but he's just not as accurate and surgical with his punches.
Right.
But I would say if we had to pick someone who has more PSI, you know, per punch, it's probably Paulo Costa at middleweight.
For
And
sure.
Marvin Vettori is probably the toughest guy, most able to take a punch at middleweight that I can put my thoughts on it at the moment.
Right. Yeah,
So
I agree, man. He's so tough. Like he has no quit in him
he's
at
really
all.
built for it too. Like he's tall but stocky. He's got a really thick neck and he's got a big head. I feel like
Mhm.
he can take a really good shot. I don't know if I've ever seen him. I don't know if I've ever seen him get stopped by punches.
No, Marvin's never been stopped in his
I was
career.
gonna
All
say I
five of his
couldn't
losses are
couldn't think of it,
decisions. Yeah, all five of his losses are decisions.
which says a lot. He fought Insania, and we saw that went for Costa.
Yeah, exactly. He put
For
up better fights against Adesanya than even we said
anybody,
Costa, Whitaker, anybody. But
styles make fights.
yeah, for sure.
Both of
Marvin's,
their last fight was at Insania. Actually, it's worth mentioning.
yeah, yeah. No, Vettori has said that he wants 30% of Costa's purse. And Costa has said, be a man about it. We agreed to 205 when they didn't. And we
He
know
could have
that.
been a dick, not done it.
Yeah, he could have. Well, that's what I was going to get at because he was also saying, take the fight, just accept the fight. We're fighting at 205. Just accept the fight. Don't back out. And it's like, Paulo, you were scheduled against Robert Whitaker. You didn't show up. You were scheduled against Jerry
All
Kennedy.
because weight.
You didn't show up. Like, those are his last two bookings. Kelvin Gastelum filled in the spot for both of them. What a gangster he is, too. But, dude, he pulled out of his last two fights and almost got himself out of this one. And then he's telling Marvin to show up. Like, it's so ass backwards, man. Like, I've lost so much respect for him. Like, I used to love Paulo Costa, man. I really hoped that he wasn't a PED user, but I'd always liked him. But, man, it's hard to respect him, though.
Yeah, um, I agree. It does seem like a maturity thing or
Really,
something
yeah.
because, or maybe it's he's trying to say what he thinks he's being told to say, but I don't think he says it properly because the language barrier, and
That
he's
could
like,
be part of it.
it makes it sound even worse than it is, and I don't think he realizes what it sounds like,
Yeah. And
and it's just not a good look.
if he was speaking in Portuguese, then his manager was translating it. They might not get it piece for piece what he's saying either.
Right. So it like I don't know, like if he was told to say it a certain way, it could still come across like he could say it at bad timing and
Mhm.
not doesn't know how to, articulate it in a way that
Right.
doesn't
Yeah.
incriminate him entirely.
Right. You can tell he knows like 200 English words. Yeah, he definitely doesn't know how to get it out the right way. But
Absolutely.
a lot of that I still think is, no accountability. I
Yeah,
guess we'll
and
find out, man.
obviously he said his last fight he was drunk before the night before his fight. So it's like
Yeah,
it's not
another
like
excuse.
maturity is out of the question to be talking about right now.
Right. Which he said it was because he had problems sleeping. I know what that's like, before a fight. It's really fucking hard to sleep sometimes. But it's like, dude, don't get drunk before you fight the best fighter in the world. Like, take a sleeping pill or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't even tell someone fighting at something like Street Beefs to drink the night before.
Right.
Like let alone
So
at the
ignorant.
UFC when you can literally get your career ended.
Yeah, dude, he's got a world title on the line, and yeah, man, it
The
was
most
really
dangerous
ignorant.
opponents you can possibly get, you can get seriously hurt.
Yep, and he did.
And
He
he
got
did.
knocked out. So, yeah, we'll see if he rebounds from that or not tomorrow night at 205 pounds, not 185. All right. I appreciate you, Tyler. I will have you on again soon here for a post fight. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a good one.
Good to see you.
You too, bud.